Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and in today's video we're going to make some axle extensions for my spray cart or spray wagon that I pull behind my zero turn mower. Now about a year ago I actually made that cart to set the tank on, or little wagon to set the tank on, and the axle I used for it was the rear axle of a uh, little child's wagon, something like a radio flyer wagon. And I knew at the time it was a little bit narrow, but I went ahead with it. And as it turns out, after a year of use, I've managed to turn it over at least twice. It's real top heavy. The wheelbase on it now is only like 15 inches, as you can see in these couple pictures right here. Wheelbase is like 15 inches wide, and the wagon itself with the tank is right at 18 inches. And of course it's almost 3 foot tall. And you get it filled up with 20 gallons of liquid, it gets kind of top heavy. And like I say, I've turned it over twice trying to back it up a little bit. Short tongue on it too. But what we're going to do today is make some axle extensions. I've still got the front steer axle from that old wagon, and again, this is what I'm pulling on. These tires or wheels are held on by these spring type clips, which I don't have any to replace. But what we're going to do is make something similar to this little drawing right here. This right here will slide over the existing axle, and I will pin it, probably use set screws for that, grub screws. Then we're going to come out 5 inches. I'm going to extend the axle out 5 inches on each side, so that'll give me an increase in the wheelbase width of 10 inches. We'll turn this out here, 5-inch diameter, 2.5 inches long. So let's turn to the lathe now and get started. Okay, so what we're going to use to make these extensions is some round stock I have here. Again, some mystery metal. I've already got a center in this end. I've got 10 pieces of this cleaned up. It's a little less than 1.5 inches. We're going to turn the major diameter on this these extensions to let's see, what did I decide on? 1.25 inches. All right, our total length it's going to be 7.5 inches long, so I'll zero out the Z-axis right there. Come in 7.5 inches and just put a witness mark. I tell you what, while we're right there, we might as well go ahead and put our carriage stop in place. Let's touch off and get us a cut made, and then we'll take a measurement. If any of you are concerned about the swarf being picked up here coming from a dirty lathe, I had several comments on the last video about needing to clean up my lathe. Before I started this project, there was not a chip in the tray. All right, let's get a measurement now and see where we need to, how much more we need to go. I'll go ahead and zero out the x-axis right now. .413. That's 163 thousandths that we need to go. Let's try a little deeper cut this time and see if that'll break that chip any better. .254, I'm good with that. Alright, now we need to come back out here to our end. Let me double check that length. Be sure it didn't slide back in the chuck any. That's 0, and we wanted 7.5 inches. Right on the money. So now we want to, there's our 0. We want to come in 2.5 inches. That'll give room for the wheel to slide over and enough room on the end for a washer and a cotter pin. Alright, we'll want to take this down to 1/2 inch. We got quite a ways to go. So I'll take some measurements when we get a little closer. This is some stringy material. It just will not break that chip. I've tried several different depths of cut. Alright, let's see. Let's try a little slower feed on here and see if that'll break the chip or if I need to go faster. That's definitely not breaking it. So let's go a little faster feed. Alright, that's breaking the chip. But I don't think I'll take quite as much depth of cut this time, next time. Alright, for the most part, that was breaking that chip a whole lot better there. There was a couple times it was getting hung up. Okay, let's see where we are now. 747, so we got 247 more to go. Alright, that's 570 and it's getting very hot and I do not want it to work harden. So I'm going to get the coolant hooked up. I'll bring you right back when I get the nozzle in place and get the coolant running. Okay, I've got that cooled down now. We got 68 more thousand to go. So I'm gonna take 40 thousandths right now at that same faster speed. All right, let's get one more check. 39 thousandths. And we slowed our feed down again. Tell you what, I think I'll slow it down even more, because this is what the wheel actually turns on. The axle is, of course, stationary. Let's see if there's room to test the wheel. Bumping over here, but yes, it's going on there. Let's put just a little chamfer on both of these. I believe we can do that without the tailstock live center being up. All right, I'm going to carry this over to the bandsaw, cut this off here. Then I'm going to get another one to this same stage. Okay, I've got the two extensions to the same point now. Carry them over to the bandsaw and cut them just a little bit long. So let's put them back in the lathe. We'll turn this around. We're going to face this end off right up to the point where we turned it down. See, I didn't cut it very straight on the bandsaw. Okay, while we're right here in the with this workpiece in the lathe, let's go ahead and get a starter bit. Now, I want to ream this hole to 1/1000th over a half. That'll give me just a little bit of clearance for the axle, the existing axle, to go in. I'm going to drill this with a 31/64, which is of course a 64th less than a half, and then we'll ream it. Alright, I put a mark on my drill bit. Yeah, that's 2.5 inches. Look mighty long. And again, this is a 1/2 inch plus 1/1000th chucking reamer. Okay, I got that drilled and reamed now. Next thing we'll do is, well, I'm going to, off camera, I'll do the other one the same way. Then we'll go over to the mill and put a couple of grub screws at 90-degree angle, 90 degrees to each other, in this end to secure this to the existing axle. Then in the other end of each extension, we'll put a hole for a cotter pin. Alright, we've got our two axle extensions, I think, finished on the lathe now. We've got the 1/2 inch hole drilled in this end to go over the existing axle. And then we got this end turned down to be the new axle. So we use a parallel to bridge across the ways on the vise. And what we're going to do is put a 5/16 24 grub screw at about 2 inches in and 90 degrees at 1/2 inch in. Reason I'm using a fine threaded grub screw is quite simple. I got a big supply of them, so that's what we're going to use. All right, this first one I'm going to line up the back edge with the vice jaws, and you've seen me do this numerous times before, but we're going to find the center on the Y and the edge on the X. All right, we found the center on the Y, and we've touched off the probe on the end for the X-axis. Now this probe's 200 thousandths thick, so we'll move in half that, 100 thousandths, and re-zero out the X-axis. Now this has the spindle in line with the edge. And our first hole is going to be at a 1/2 inch in. Next we'll use the tap drill for 5/16 24. All right, now we're going to use our tap guide just to keep the tap straight in the work material. Now this, of course, was a taper tap, and I think it probably went deep enough to get full threads, but just in case, we'll come back with a bottom tap. Now I'm going to rotate this approximately 90 degrees. It doesn't have to be exact at all for what we're doing here. I do want to keep this edge over here line low so I don't have to refine this edge. And that looks good enough. All right, so now this was at the 1/2 inch mark. We'll move over to the 2 inch mark. Remember, this inside relief here is 2.5 inches in. So if we come in 2 inches from the end, that'll be 1/2 inch here, and we put that one 1/2 inch. All right, I'm going to do the same thing to the other piece. I'll do that one off camera. Then I'll bring you back when we turn the piece around and get ready to drill our hole for the cotter pin in the axle end. Oh, if you've ever wondered why taps have this little hole in the end down here, this is why. We've got the holes drilled and tapped in both ends of both extensions for the 5/16 24. Now I've got the workpiece turned around, and I've come in 200 thousandths from the edge. And that, of course, is the same Y position center position on the Y as it was when it was turned around. Now I've got some 1/8 inch cotter pins, and I'm going to drill 1/8 inch hole and see if they'll clear. Yes, 1/8 inch cotter pin will clear in an 1/8 inch hole. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing to the other piece. After I get that done, I think I'm going to carry them over to the parts washer, clean off any of this tapping oil, cutting fluid they've used, clean that off good, let them dry, and then give them a coat of black spray paint, because I'm sure this bare metal, it will rust almost immediately. Okay, we're out here under the shelter of Tin Barn now, and I've got the spray wagon or spray tank lifted up on my overhead hoist that I have out here, and I've already removed these aggravating I don't know, spring clips, I guess you'd call them. Pretty much got to destroy them to remove them. I've already got those off, and as you can see now, here's another shot from the back. You can see how narrow the wheelbase is in relation to the whole cart, tank, and so forth. So let's take this one off, and we'll take one of our new axle extensions, and I anticipated that probably being a little bit rusty and not wanting to go on smooth. So I got a little sleeve to slide over this. Alright, let's bottom that out. So we'll tighten down our 2 grub screws. I think I'll go ahead and get a hex wrench, 90-degree hex wrench. That will allow me to put just a little more pressure on here. Let's see, that's a 5/32. Alright, now let's see if our wheel will fit back over, and how much, if any, of those washers. I don't think we need any of the big washers that was on there before. This is one that a washer that I turned on the lathe itself. Alright, let's see if we can swing this around. Well, it might be easier just to come to this side. Alright, I think that gives you an idea now of what I was looking for, trying to get a wider wheelbase on this. As I said at the beginning of the video, I've turned this over a couple times already, but I think this will help tremendously. Alright, there we have it. We got a wider wheelbase on the spray tank now, spray tank and cart. Hope you got a little bit out of this video and at least enjoyed it. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.